Alright, apparently we're live, so what's up everyone? Welcome to Chrono Trigger, one of the best, if not the best SNES RPG out there. My name is Ponk, and I'm going to be running Defeat Magus Percent today. For those of you who don't know, we actually had a tournament of this category recently. Defeat Magus Percent being not a full game category, a partial category. A really fun one. Kind of the reason why it exists is that I guess Magus Percent is kind of like Kafka and Narsh for FF6. It's just up until Magus, basically every category that there exists for the game is basically the same. So it's a nice race category, and it's a pretty fun one because basically up until Magus is all the good stuff, and compared to any percent, there's not too much more happening after. So yeah, we're starting right away. You'll notice that I delete all my saves. The reason for that is RNG, but we'll get into RNG manipulation later. And I'm basically ready, so just gonna do a quick countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. And we start off naming our character. Well, optimally we name him after a single character. I kind of messed up. Now his name is No. But typically for these old games, characters are drawn out one character per frame. So by renaming the characters that are named a lot by less characters, you're going to save a bunch of time, a few minutes over the course of the run. There's a lot of text mashing in this game. Unfortunately, you cannot just like hold down a button and make the text progress. You actually have to mash through it to always hit like the first frame when you can close it. It's kind of a frame rule based thing, so you can lose a lot of time just to not mashing efficiently, and there are a lot of cutscenes in this game as well, so you don't really have any downtime. But yeah, start of the run is a lot of menuing. One thing you'll notice me do here is 3 things that I do here in this initial menu. First thing is I change the battle speed to 1, battle speed 1 being the fastest, so we just get the fights done quicker, save time. Renaming Luca here as well. Another thing that I do is I change my control scheme. That's not necessarily for preference. I probably wouldn't do it if it was just for preference, just because it loses time. But there's actually a trick later on in the game that you cannot do on default controls. So we change our control scheme here. And the third thing I do is I change my battle cursor to memory. And what that does is that whenever when I make a tech, it's going to remember that I used the tech the last time in a fight. And the next time I'm in a fight, it's going to be automatically set to that tech already, and that's really important for the run. Also, I'm apparently very bad at renaming characters. Having everyone renamed to 2 character names, but alright. And that's basically the entire setup. Start of the game is a lot of cutscenes. We go to the fair, meet this girl, Marl here. She loses her pendant, we give it to her. And just have a fun time with the girl and the fair. So this part is really just progressing story as quickly as possible, getting our initial menu ready, and progressing the story. Now we meet Luca. Luca has a cool invention, a teleport. It's gonna teleport us from A to B. What the game wants you to do here is test out the teleport and get like your feeling for how teleportation is supposed to work. But you don't have to do that. You can just literally talk to Marl right away, and she's gonna be like, oh, that was fun, I want to do it too. Even though we never write the teleport, and now she's gonna write the teleport. We don't know exactly why the game doesn't require you to do it. We assume that the developers, when they were like debugging this entire sequence, that they were just like, oh well, yeah, we don't want to do this animation of writing the teleport every time, so just left it out. And now we got our story coming in, because as you might have guessed already, Marl is not just gonna write the teleport and everything is fine. That would be too easy. No, we got a magic plot device pendant that manipulates the teleport and sends her into a weird wormhole that later turns out to be the past. So the first 5 minutes are really boring. It's you will see, if you ever see someone grinding this category, and I've been grinding this category a little bit, you'll see a lot of resets within the first like 5 or 6 minutes. Which doesn't make this a lot more pleasant to run, but once you get like first the initial cutscenes and stuff, it's getting better. So now, being the hero we are, we grab the pendant, get on the telepod, and get into the wormhole ourselves, trying to save the girl like a good guy. Also, one thing you might wonder, I'm running this on English text. It is technically a little bit faster to do this on J. For Chrono Trigger, like obviously J text is faster than English text, but a few glitches actually work different on J. So depending on the category, actually sometimes J is faster, sometimes English is faster. For max percent it almost doesn't matter. So I just run English because I'm more familiar with the English script. But we're coming up on the first fight, and this one's actually kind of a rough one. So, in case Chrono Trigger is pretty unique in terms of how it works, in terms of like how RNG works. But I'll get into that in just a little bit. I have to do two really precise inputs here. Okay, so the idea is that I don't get hit in this fight. And by default, the battle cursor is on the top one, but the bottom ones are going to hit me first, so I have to do two really fast, precise attacks to kill the bottom ones first, and that way I don't get hit. So the way RNG works, in like most, I want to say JRPGs, you have like, there we go, that was bird skip, just pushing beyond a fight trigger. You have just like your RNG, you have to deal with whatever, but in Chrono Trigger it's really unique because you know where all the fights are, so there are like no surprise random encounters. And the script, like the damage rolls, the crits, everything is set on one RNG value. And that RNG value doesn't like increment in like random amounts or like by the amount of frames you have enemies on screen or something like that. It only increases by text being used, so basically the idea of this game, of the entire run, is just to always do every fight with the exact same text and the exact same timing. And that way all the fights will always be the same, so we can actually do the fights in the fastest possible way, 100% manipulate all crits, all attacks that are used, can completely avoid certain types of damage that we don't have a lot of defense against. So if you ever look up like the wiki for the speedrun of this, you will just see an entire giant script just for all the fights in this game. So this entire game is just completely routed out in terms of scripts, and that's what makes it so fun, is that this game has almost no RNG, even though it's like a JRPG. It's just all manipulated, and that's what makes it so cool. The downside is obviously if you get off script by messing up like a precise timing in a fight, or like getting into extra encounters that you have to improvise or load a backup to get back on RNG. That is also the reason why we start the game with no save files, is because when you load the game, the way that the RNG seed is determined is how long you spend on the file select screen. So by having no files, you always start with RNG seed 0, because there are no files to select. And we're actually going to have a few reloads forced in this speedrun. And you're going to see me actually timing these reloads to always land on a specific RNG seed that is favorable for me. But we'll get more into that later. For now, we just got our equipment, got a little bit more story. We found Morrow. Morrow got saved by the guards. But now Morrow kind of disintegrated without us knowing what's going on. And now there's Luca. Because Luca is smart, and Luca figured out how to get here. And is now explaining time travel. And the way they explain time travel is pretty good. Haven't seen something like that. So this is how time travel works. This is how biology works too. You just kind of get a baby, and every second generation your dress and your hairstyle changes, but other than that it's all the same. And if you kidnap the first princess, all other princes are gonna die. That's basically the story. But it's, yeah. This is one of the parts that we make a little bit more fun of when we do these moves. Another thing about RNG, because we can 100% manipulate all RNG, can always know when we get crits, during the entirety of this run we're going to be pretty hardly under-leveled, just because of the RNG minute, and there are actually only going to be 2 fights in the entire run that are not optional. And those are going to be right at the start just to get Flame Whirl and Flame Toss. So we're going to get 2 encounters that we don't need to do right at the start. And we only do these because they're going to save us time in a later fight. So we only do 2 fights of grinding, which are really fast too. So this entire run is just really optimized. And again, all these inputs that I do during these fights, how I do these fights, the way I get the crits, it's all scripted out. I know exactly when I get which damage roll, just to stay on the same RNG seed. So really all fights are always the same as long as I don't mess up. So that was the first grind encounter. Here's the second one. This one is actually kind of interesting. We delay an attack on the left Rolly Rider up until Luca's turn is ready, so that we can target the left Rolly Rider with Luca even though Chrono is going to get crit, and then Luca is forced to swap to the right one, and that's something we call an RNG jump, where the RNG jumps a little bit ahead way more than it's supposed to. And now that we got our tech, the RNG is perfectly lined up for an unskippable encounter in the Cathedral, where we can really easily one-shot 3 of the 4 enemies there without getting any counterattacks. And these counterattacks are really slow with these enemies. They're slow spells, and slow spells don't only slow us down, but the animations itself are also slow. So these are the 4 Nagats, and without the fire tag it's really a pain to fight these. So there we go, we got our Flame Whirl. No slow spells, we can just one-shot 3 of those. We're gonna get 1 attack by the right Nagat, but it's not gonna be a slow spell, so it's gonna be fast, and then we can just finish her off with a Flame Toss. Oh, that was bad. That was my mistake, I'm sorry. But it doesn't really matter. We're obviously off script now because I messed up an attack. But it doesn't really matter because there's only 1 encounter after this. And after that encounter we have a forced reload, so at that point the RNG is going to be fixed in place anyways. Well, it's still a fast fight compared to like having to wait out multiple slow spells. And now we meet Frog, and not sure about you guys, but in my opinion Frog is probably the best character in the entire game. Luca doesn't quite like frogs, but in my opinion Frog is great. And just like with all other characters, we're going to rename Frog to a 1-character name, because those are pretty hype. And typically for these JRPGs, the progress is obviously hidden inside the mysterious organ hidden in the left-hand corner of the room. Alright, this area is pretty technical because we're starting to come up on like glitches. One thing you'll see me do in this next room is a fade out. The way fade outs work is basically buffering door transitions. Oh man, what's that? And what I do here is I just enter the door transition. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Okay, I think I'll do this anymore. Hello? Alright, cool. Wait. I need to check something. No. What the heck? Alright, for some reason this isn't working right now. There you go, alright. The way this works is I just basically enter the door transition, I pause as I enter the door transition, and that way it will cancel the fade out into the next room. And when I unpause, it's gonna start the fade out again, so that it wants to put me into the next room. And by just repausing over and over again, I can just delay the fade out infinitely. And that's what we call fade out glitch. And what I did there, even though I did it really slow, is I get the fade out glitch and activate the thing that has the power tap in it. And that way I can skip everything that comes along with collecting the power tap, and I just get the item and immediately leave the room. That's a very minor instance of a fade out. but it's gonna have a way bigger relevance later. Oh, this is bad. Okay. ATB was kind of disappointing. So yeah, this fight here, pretty straightforward. We hope for crits on Frog. Even got one, that's nice. See, can we get another one? Nope. Alright. It's kind of the thing, if you get off RNG, you just gotta hope for the best, but these fights aren't really dangerous either, just because we got pretty good tech, and the early game isn't too dangerous. Alright, so now, we're basically done with the Cathedral already. Yo, what's up, Kaio? Thank you. We're just coming up on the boss, and if you've never seen a Chrono Trigger speedrun, we basically skip like about 60% of all boss fights in this game, because we can, and boss fights are slow. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do a safety save. So this is a marathon. So we're gonna do a fade out again into the boss room transition. And what we're gonna do, we are not gonna activate anything, but we're gonna step onto the save point. And also do some menuing, but I'll explain the menu later. So we're stepping onto the save point here, and what it does is when we hit the transition, the game still thinks that we are on the save point, and that allows us to save in rooms where we're not supposed to save. In this specific instance, we are allowed to save in the boss room past the trigger of the boss fight. And the game is really bad at handling this, so we are allowed to move around freely during this cutscene before the boss fight, the Yakra fight. So you can see the game is kind of not handling this well right now, as you can see with Luca here. And basically all we want to do is we want to have Yakra off screen as the fight starts, like this. And now, when the boss fight starts and Yakra is off screen, the game thinks like, oh, Yakra is off screen, so that means he has to be defeated. So that way we can just skip Yakra, because, well, the game doesn't really handle this well. Ignore the princess standing right in front of the boss, doesn't really matter. And now we can just leave, because we defeated Yakra, so good job us, we did it. We're gonna use this save anywhere glitch. What I did there, the save anywhere glitch, is just like this fade out onto the save point. This glitch is used a lot in this run, because saving at specific points where you're not supposed to save is absolutely OP. Making fade out like one of the most broken glitches in this game. But yeah, that way we can just easily skip stuff by just saving past certain triggers. And the cool thing is we still have save anywhere, because the only way the check the game has to like know if you're in a safe spot or not is done in rooms where a save point is located. So we still have save anywhere up until the point where we got onto a screen where there is a save point. So for the next long while we still have save anywhere, which we're obviously going to abuse. Another thing that you saw me doing, like while I was doing the menus anyways to get onto the save point before Yakra, I was doing some equipment. I just equipped Chrono with some basic stuff. I gave him the power tabs. And one thing you'll notice is that I de-equipped Luca's armor and helmet. And that's not in any like sexual way or anything. What we do there is called an unequip glitch by just doing a frame perfect input in the menu. And unequipping basically removes all our physical armor. However, we get a glitched null armor, and that null armor has a ton of magic defense against 3 of the 4 elements in this game. And it also gives us a huge boost of magic attack. So Luca right now is basically completely invincible in terms of like magic damage, and deals a lot of magic damage herself, which is really useful. And over the course of the run, we're going to de-equip all our characters just to get that giant boost of magic defense. This is something called reverse bird skin. And you might notice that I waited out on the file select screen there a little bit. And as we already mentioned, if you reload a game, the way your RNG seed is determined is by how long you spend on the file select screen. So by waiting out there just a little bit, and I think we have like a window of like 0.3 seconds or something like that, we can determine what RNG seed we're going to get on as soon as we reload the game. So that's a really easy way to like get onto the right RNG. And we did that save and reload because that way we were able to skip an encounter. Again, game not being able to handle well that we can save in the location we're not supposed to, so we can just skip an extra encounter. Also, we get back on the right RNG, which is nice. So there are like kind of these checkpoints where you get onto the right RNG anyways. So if you mess up late in a chain of RNG sequences, it doesn't matter because you can just do a reload. So yeah, that's the first part. We saved the princess. Game is basically done now. Like we saved the princess, right? We saved the day, we're back in our time. There's nothing to worry about. It's not like there's anything gonna go wrong from now. We're probably just gonna take the princess out for a nice dinner with her family. Probably gonna get a parade or something for saving the princess. That's how video games work. You just do your one mission, beat your one boss, and then we're done, right? I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So let's just get to the castle, have some fun, you know, chilling out. Also, I guess one thing I should mention about encounters in this game. In a lot of cases, encounter tiles that trigger encounters are invisible, and in other instances, the actual encounter tile, the actual encounter trigger that starts the fight is completely disaligned from the actual enemy sprite. So even if you can see an enemy on screen, you could just touch a random tile and it would start the encounter. So it's really important to know how to move in this game, just to not start any random encounters. So if my movement at any point looks like kind of, I don't know, wonky, that's probably not only because I'm bad, but mostly because there's some encounter that I want to like skip. So yeah, obviously game is not as easy. And now there's this well, we were accused of kidnapping the princess, which well, the princess said it isn't true, but who cares what the princess has to say, right? And so we're obviously going to be put into trial because we kidnapped the princess. So now it's up to the jury to decide if we're guilty or not guilty. This is really just mashing texts. We got 2 questions to answer. We're gonna choose no on each of them. And the way this is gonna work is there are gonna be 7 people who decide over our fate. By the way how we answer the questions and how we acted in the first 5 minutes of the run, 6 of those are gonna be fixed. We got 3 for guilty, 3 for not guilty, and only one of the people is gonna be RNG. And it's like a 40% chance of us to get guilty, just based on that one person who's RNG. And we want guilty because it skips a few text boxes. And that's going to be the second one to get its judgment. So we're going to wait out if that person says guilty or not guilty, and then we know if we got good RNG and bad RNG. And that's the cool thing. Like, even though this is a JRPG, these like few seconds to save from getting guilty or not guilty is probably one of the biggest instances of RNG, which makes this really fun to run. It's a really heavy skill game and there's almost no RNG in it. So yeah, this guy is going to decide if we get guilty or not guilty. And we got guilty! Heck yeah! So we saved like 5 seconds just to RNG. Let's go. So it's going to be 4 on the left side, 3 on the right side, and then we're going to get guilty. The reason why guilty saves time is like, if you know the game, you know that it doesn't matter if you get guilty or not, you're gonna get thrown into prison anyways. If you get not guilty, it's gonna be called solitary confinement, it doesn't matter, you're gonna get thrown into prison. And when you get there, the guy's gonna be like, hey, yeah, there's this execution in 3 days, and if you get not guilty, the administrator is gonna be like, oh, weird, I didn't hear anything about an execution, it's just a few extra text boxes that lose you a little bit of time, but not too big of a deal. So yeah, we're going to be taken away. Mao, the princess, says once again that she didn't get abducted, but nobody cares. Father steps in, says, no, nobody cares for what you have to say. Very unfortunate story, and now we just get thrown into jail. That's how life works. We save the princess and get punished for it. Yeah, bad times these days. But obviously, since Guardia Castle has a very liberal prison, like very advanced for its time, honestly. We not only get thrown into prison, but because they are nice guys, we get to keep our equipment. So they put us into jail, but they give us our weapons, our items and stuff. So I'm not sure about you guys, but in my opinion, it might not be the best idea to throw someone in jail with like a heavy weapon and some items. But if they do that here, I'm not gonna argue with it. So we're just gonna accept it. Yeah, Mario never had to deal with this. I don't know. Mario has such an easy life. So we use the coffee mug here, just to refresh our HP and MP. And funny enough, this also refreshes the HP and MP of Marl and Luca and Frog, even though they're not in the party. So if you don't drink this coffee mug and just heal Chrono normally, and you're gonna meet Luca, she's not gonna be full on HP and MP. But if you do drink it, Luca is gonna be full on HP and MP, so that's pretty ridiculous. So if we did the reload correctly over at Birdskip, we're gonna roll a 60 on this next fight. If we don't get a 60, I'm just gonna reload the save that I just made and try to reload the RNG seed properly. But I should get a 60 here from the Cyclone. And that way I'm gonna know I'm gonna be on the right RNG, because that's the highest possible damage roll when we get a 60. So I'm on the right RNG, so we can continue. Again, prison escape here, done pretty conveniently. These guards are also awesome. You can just run between them. The time frame for that, the range you have for that is actually kind of ridiculous. It's not as hard. You have to be like kind of centered, and you can just run between them. Here we have another fade out. This is the longest one in the entire game. We just do this to skip a fight in the middle of a bridge, and it would actually be faster to just do the fight, but the RNG seed we have right now is just super convenient because we have a ton of crits for the boss fight, and we want those. This guard is RNG. The two guards here are RNG, by the way. We just don't want any extra encounters because that would mess up the RNG seed. So yeah. God, these guards are terrible. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. Oh my god, okay, that was bad. Okay. So, same thing here, just run between them. And now a last fade out glitch just to skip these two. There we go. And now we're back at the start. Didn't take too long, just a casual 5-minute vacation in the deepest cell of Guardia Castle. And now Luca comes for our rescue. Completely unnecessary, but she's here, like a good friend. So that's pretty cool. Just gonna get these 5 safety metonics. Just for safety. And now we come up on the first boss fight that we actually fight, so that's cool. We actually are gonna see a boss fight in this run. It's gonna be the Dragon Tank, and the way the Dragon Tank works is that the Dragon Tank has 5 parts: wheel, body, and head. And the head can heal itself. And basically, the idea of this fight is to kill body and wheel first. But because we have such an insane amount of crits right now, we can just kill the head first. So just look at the damage numbers, we're gonna get an absolute insane amount of crits. Also, one thing that's important for these fights, you always want to input your attacks during animations. That way you guarantee that the attacks are going to be coming off on the first possible frame. And that's how we control RNG. Oh, that's kind of bad. That's okay. I missed an attack skip there, but that's alright. It's not going to make the fight any harder, that's just going to make the part after Dragon Tank a little bit annoying. Alright, and that's Dragon Tank. Pretty easy stuff. Not too terrible. And we officially escaped prison. Now the Chancellor is going to be kind of like, oh my god, what do we do? This is probably one of the most hilarious cutscenes in the game. Chancellor and the two guards just being there like, no clue what to do. And conveniently enough, forming a bridge for us so that we can pass. It's very nice of them. Grabbing this shelter here, really important for the upcoming part. Nice. If you move precisely along the walls there, you can just skip the text box with these cards. And now there's Princess Marl again, telling us that we can just go. And now the Chancellor comes around, and I have no clue how the Chancellor made it from hanging on that bridge to just casually walking down the stairs in like 10 seconds. I really don't know how. I really do want to know how he did that. But yeah, well, here we are in this moral dilemma again of us wanting to leave and the others really not wanting us to leave. But now Marl is also gonna leave, so that's cool. The trio is completed, and we just get to leave. But obviously, Chancellor is saying, hey guards, you should probably follow them. Plot hole, yeah. Basically. So we run off into the forest. Yeah, Waldo, he is. He has one of the most hilarious sprite sets in the game. That's you're gonna be probably one of the most hilarious, if not the most hilarious faces in the entire game in about a minute. So now we find the gate here out in the middle of the forest, and since we're kind of escaping right now and we don't have any other way of escaping from our certain death, we decide to just run into this random wormhole, travel through time, and just check out what's going on in other times of this land. And now we are going to the future, and the Chancellor has kind of a wood face here, and I absolutely love it. The way his eyes and his mouth is there is just too good. And now we get into the future. Future is pretty not cool. Future is actually pretty messed up. As we're gonna see here in quite a bit. So yeah, yeah, this is not a happy place. We got like destroyed cities, mutants, rats, everything. All the kind of good, kind of dystopian stuff that you see in science fiction. Two things that one thing you're gonna see me use twice here is I'm gonna open up a chest, not get rid of the text box, and then run into a rat, and that way we have two text boxes overlapping, and then I can just run through encounter triggers, and that way skip extra encounters. Now we got Aris Dome. Aris Dome is a pretty area, not really too exciting. It has literally the most difficult movement screen though. So yeah. I'm not gonna go. Actually, since I'm off RNG anyways, I might go for the. Actually, I'm kind of. I'm not sure. Should I go for that? Should I not go for it? I'm not sure. There's some really difficult movements you can do here that saves like 1 or 2 seconds, but I don't think I'm gonna do it because if I mess it up, it's gonna be an extra encounter, which doesn't only lose me time, but I might actually run into the risk of dying. Actually, no, I can do it. I should go for it. Why not? It's a marathon. It's a marathon for fun. Okay, so, what am I doing here? We got another boss coming up, the Guardian, and since we just fought a boss fight, I think it's time to skip another boss. Like, fighting too many bosses becomes kind of boring over the long run. And this is actually the boss that you have to change your control scheme for. So again, the way the fade out works is we just mash the menu button basically to just keep delaying the fade out. The problem is that the default button for the menu in this room triggers an extra encounter, so the fade out doesn't work. So for just this room, we have to remap our menu button. In my case, I just remap X to Y and Y to X. And that way we can just skip the boss. So we had 3 boss fights so far, 2 of them we skipped. We also did some basic menuing, got 2 better weapons, Load Sword and Load Bow, and we also equipped Berserker on Mara. Berserker being like the most broken item in the game. Gives you a 150% attack boost, and Berserker strats are really good for RNG manip, because it gives you like automatic first frame attacks that you can work around with, making RNG manip really good, and obviously the extra damage, but yeah. Okay, so this is the hardest movement screen on the game. If I'm doing it well, I can get something, okay, I missed it, that we call fast bucks. And there you go. It looks really cool, but it saves very little amount of time for how hard it is to do. Also, one thing you'll notice that I did there is something that we call menu trick. Usually, the way you're supposed to run away from encounters in this game is just like wait and hold L&R, and obviously during that time that you wait, enemies can attack you. But if you enter the tech menu, enemies won't be able to attack you, but the counter for the amount of frames you need to hold for the runaway to work still increases. So you can just start holding L and R into the menu, and then leave the menu after the 2 seconds are over, and then you just run away without the enemies being able to do anything. This is another, again, fade out, completely broken. We just faded out, ran into a cutscene, and skipped the entire cutscene. Sadly, there's another cutscene right after which we cannot skip, but we just basically skipped the entire part where they explain us why this is so messed up, with like lava's awakening and destroying the entire world. And it's kind of funny because it gives us a lot of information that we just have from now on but never actually saw. So if from now on they refer to any information that you don't know where we even have it from, it's probably from that cutscene that we just did. Alright, let me see if I can get reversed fast bucks, because that's also a thing. No, I'm apparently trash today. That's great. So yeah, again, we just do this, enter the menu, and then the enemies never have a chance to do anything. And now, like, okay, our original mission when we went down here was to get food for these people that are kind of starving right now. And we didn't find any food because the food was all rotten because the refrigerators failed, and only thing we got was seeds to grow some plants. So we give the seeds to these people, and it's like a very deep metaphoric thing about hope in a hopeless situation. And it's very, very tragic. But we get a cool bike key, so it's totally worth it. Oh, we get this bike key, and I'm now able to head to Protodome. And the bike key is gonna be our key to, like, probably one of the most iconic minigames in SNES RPG history. Because now we are gonna meet no one else but the man. And when I say the man, I mean the man. There he is. It's the man. And we're gonna race the man, aka Johnny, in a jet bike race to get over to the other part of the world, being able to get to Protodome. You want to stay ahead of Johnny as much as possible, just to not slow down. I really like this zigzag strat here. It's not quite optimal. If you want to do it really optimal, you can just like you can actually just bonk in front of Johnny, but it's really difficult to do. And this strat is still way faster than just like playing it super safe, bonking behind Johnny, and just pull out at the last second. This strat is just really nice and safe, so I'm gonna go for that. If you miss the race, you're gonna lose like a minute. Alright. So now we are gonna meet a new character. Our good friend Robo. I hope you guys like Robo. Robo is a cool dude. Gonna use a shelter here, because I'm off RNG and the next fight can actually kill me. Alright, that wasn't too bad. This is probably one of the only instances in the run where you don't want to hold dash, because holding dash there triggers the fight with these 4 buggers. And you cannot run from that encounter, and you will probably die when you fight them. Not a nice thing. So there's Robo, and currently deactivated, but Luca can fix him. So we're just gonna have some chill music, relaxing a bit, while Luca fixes the robot. And there we go. This music is so good. Getting rickrolled literally everyone. Because Robo is never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Robo is actually one of the few characters we don't rename because his character doesn't appear in text form too much. And at least in Magus Percent it doesn't save time to rename him, so we just leave his default name. Such a happy song and such a grim timeline. I mean, Robo is literally the incarnation, the metal incarnation of happiness. So basically, there's a gate behind that door that we originally wanted to get to, but we don't have power for it. So we're gonna go to the factory, reconnect the power line there, and in the meanwhile, Marl is gonna stay here and open up the door once the power line is reconnected. And yeah, now we're heading to the factory just to get the power to get to the gate. Robo is bae. No, dude. Robo is a bro, not a bae. Alright, here we have an asset fight. These assets are atrocious. Again, we are heavily underleveled. And these things don't only have... These guys don't only have a lot of HP, but they also have like the most ridiculous defense. If you have really bad RNG, you're just gonna roll literally just once. Like one after one after one. And they can take forever. And the bad part is, we are coming up on the biggest RNG segment of the entire run. And that RNG segment is going to be a fight of 5 enemies, which is a random mix of slimes and acids. We also refer to those as greens and reds. Kind of like those guys. But we're going to have 5 of them. We are not able to run from them, we need to fight them. And they're going to be a random mix. And basically, reds are really bad because they have the higher defense and more HP. Greens are preferable. Greens for some reason also give more XP. But that doesn't matter. And the nasty thing is they are like 5, you don't know which pattern you get. And if they mix up really badly and you attack a green while he's next to a red one, they are gonna counter-attack you. So this fight can take anywhere between like 20 seconds and 2 minutes. Which is annoying, but considering that it's the only RNG part in this run, it's kind of nice. And that's a terrible pattern. That is really bad. So optimally, a Robo Rocket Punch can one-shot these things. Which he actually does this time, cool. Again, we don't really want to attack reds while they are next to greens. We don't want to attack greens while they're next to reds, just because of the counterattacks. Those are just slow if we want to avoid them at any cost. We want to use Cyclones preferably with Chrono, just because we're going to multi-hit the reds. So like the idea for this fight is basically Cyclone the reds, Rocket Punch the greens, and hope for good damage rolls. That's all there is to it. Praying for good damage rolls, really. Yeah, okay, this is not a bad fight. We're getting some good rolls here. This could have been way worse. Okay, yeah, okay. Never mind about the good damage rolls. Oh, look at this 2 damage crit. That actually killed, wow. Okay, not gonna complain. So this is just like, hoping for the best really. Wow. This is, alright, there we go. That was not terrible. That could have been way worse considering the pattern. Only important thing in this fight is that Chrono has more than 8 MP leaving the fight, and we want to use Robo here to cure beam us because we have a boss fight coming up, and that boss fight we're actually not going to skip for once. Oh, I messed up. I'm sorry. So, for anyone of you who knows Super Metroid, you know that there's a GT code, which is just literally just holding all face buttons. In this game, there's something called zombie code to open this door, and you're supposed to press the 4 face buttons in a specific order. You can just hold all face buttons at once, and we'll open the door. No reason to, like, find out any tricky order of buttons. Just, like, hold all buttons and you're good. And now we triggered the security mechanism after realigning the power to the dome, so that right now the door is open to the gate. Now we literally just need to escape the factory, and that's easier said than done because these defense mechanisms are kind of nasty. But you're gonna see that here in just a second because now we have a boss fight coming up. The R series, and R series is fun. R series is a thing. And we also got a little bit of backstory for Robo here, because turns out Robo's original purpose was to destroy all intruders. And now Robo is gonna get punished for not destroying the intruders. Yeah, Bible phone. This is a pretty sad part. And now we have to deal with R-Series. And R-Series is one of these fights that's not like terribly hard or complex. You don't even need specific RNG, like no matter what RNG you're on, the fight is always going to work the same way. And it's always going to end in the same amount of attacks, but you need to do your attacks really quickly, otherwise you will have a problem. And there is a good chance that you die in this fight. Getting this Cyclone off before any of the R-Series is able to attack you is really important. That's actually not bad that I got that. This is actually a really good fight so far. You want to just minimize the amount of attacks you get in, and this is basically perfect. No risk of dying. If you do it slow, there's a very good risk of dying here, but with fast enough cyclones, it's this is good. All right, no. This is not good. I messed up. I was supposed to kill all three of them. That's okay. Yeah, okay, we're good. Alright. Thankfully I had 10 MP, not 8. So we were able to get another cyclone in. Yeah, that was our series. So far we're 2 for 2. 2 boss fights that we skipped and 2 that we actually had to fight. Now that we're reunited, we can just go for the gate. And we're not going to land where we expect to land. We're actually going to land in the End of Time. And End of Time is a funny place. Pretty glitchy place. But a funny place. Gonna see our good guy, the guru here. The old man. Gonna tell us about time disturbances and stuff like that. Gonna have to leave one character behind. Which in this case is going to be Robo, because we need to unlock magic for all other 3 characters, and Robo cannot learn magic. But to unlock magic, we have to unlock the door for Speakio first, which we're going to do like that. And there we have him, Speakio. Which looks like a frog, because we're super underleveled and Speakio's appearance is based on our level. And this is literally the weakest form he can be in if you're underleveled him. Like in casual playthroughs, you'll never see this form, just because, yeah, you're usually not going to make it here with level 10. So the way we are going to get magic is by running around the room into all corners 3 times and think magic. So if you want to do that at home right now, feel free to do so. But it's really important that you think magic, otherwise it's not going to work. Also, really important, say no on the next text box. Don't mash, just say no. Because otherwise we're going to get into an unescapable encounter with Speakio. It's gonna wreck us pretty bad, and that's gonna have no value for us. Alright, and now we're gonna go to Medina Village. Do some further investigation. We're also coming up on a cool trick called Cake and Dash, which is pretty complex. Cake and Dash is you eat the cake and then you dash. And it's a thing. So we eat the cake, swap our party around so that we get the ability to move around. And while this friendly mother there is still talking to us, we just dash away. And that's we got the cake, so got all that we needed. Alright. Hecarim Cave is pretty simple in the sense that we are gonna run away or just skip most of the encounters here. Actually all of them except for that first one. We're just gonna do the runaway trick again. Just hold L and R, enter the tech menu, leave the tech menu and just run away without anyone being able to attack us. That's really it. There are also some encounter types that we just skip. Like you can see, I was just kind of pushing myself into that staircase there. That was just to skip an encounter. A lot of invisible stuff that you cannot really see, but that we just do. Here we got another fade out to skip yet another encounter. In this one we actually skip our party. Or swap our party. The reason for that is we got another boss fight coming up that you might have guessed it, we're gonna skip. But after the boss fight, there's a cutscene, and that cutscene actually has different lengths based on what character you have in, and if you have Marl in the party it's gonna take longer. So we choose Robo. So this is another fade out, and this one is actually a save anywhere. So we enter the boss room, get onto the save point. Alright, let's see if I can get this. No. Alright. This one is actually way harder, like way harder than Yakra skip. You have like only... No. That should work. With Yakra you had like 1 second to pause, to do the menu after the boss trigger. With Hecarim you have like a few frames, so I got that second try, that's not bad. And it's the same thing again, you just trigger the boss, go off screen, game thinks okay, boss is off screen so it has to be that. And that way we defeat Hecarim. Oh well, we skip Hecarim. And this one is really precise. This is actually the most glitch heavy section after starting with Hecarim skip. But it's a really cool section too. Alright, so now we got some information about Magus, so we go back in time and try to fight Magus. And again, we did this with Save Anywhere, so right now we still have Save Anywhere. The problem is, now that we're going to step into End of Time has a save point, so as soon as we are there, we are going to lose Save Anywhere. And there's a trick called End of Time Save Anywhere, which is basically going through the End of Time, zipping out, gaining control over the party, and landing on the save point so that you get Save Anywhere out of that. And it's way harder, and there's only a 75% chance that you even get it because of dumb stuff. Than normal Save Anywhere, but we'll see if I can get it. So you store the text box like that, hit the pillar that you want to get on, get into a specific position like this still with the text box stored, and then overlap 2 text boxes, and then as soon as you zip out, get control over the chrono and step onto the save point and then zip out. And again, there's only like a 75% chance that you get it with this setup, but I got it, and that saves me like a minute over getting Save Anywhere in Cathedral. I'm gonna do another instance of bird skip. Again, just you have a 2 pixel window to align with a certain spot on the bridge here, and then just push upwards and get past this fight. You have to do the skip 4 times in the room. Alright. So we want to go over the bridge to the other part of the country, but the captain doesn't let us because they don't have supplies yet. So we go into the castle, get the supplies, and then go back to the bridge. Again, a lot of invisible encounters that we just skip by aligning with the trees, basically. Because the chef here is actually the brother of the captain. And he's going to give us a jerky and a power tap. The power tap, way more useful. The jerky is actually never going to come to use. But that's irrelevant, it's a plot item, so we're going to get it. Power tap is going to be really relevant though. Alright, now that we got that, we're going to go back to the bridge. And on the bridge, if you've played the game before, there is a boss fight called Zombor. And if you have paid any attention to the run so far, yes, we are going to skip Zombor because boss fights are terribly slow. Especially that one, so we're just going to skip it. Same concept as Hecarim skip, just pausing at a specific spot, Okay. So we want to do the menu after that guard that is just lying on the ground. And if I would get that, that would be kind of nice. The first one is kind of hard. Pausing past the first guard. I'm not sure if this will work. Let's hope it will work. It did work, okay. And then the second one is just this one. Pausing after the second guard. And that way we can get past this cool part here and just skip the boss fight that would be right around here. And that's Zombor skip. One technique that I use there is something we call release B. And basically the checks to hit these triggers are based on frame rules. So if you would just dash onto the trigger, you would already just straight up run into it. And we don't want that. There we go. So we release the dash button for a little bit. And that way can hit the frame rule a little bit better. Save anywhere there being kind of useful because we can just glitch onto another layer and just skip a big section of Denadora Mountain. Alright. I did a mash load there. Which is again just loading at a specific timing. But in this case it's the fastest possible timing. And now we're on the right RNG again. And Denadora Mountain is a ton of fun in terms of movement. There are so many encounters here that you can just skip by moving well. That you actually have to skip by moving well. If I run into a single encounter here, I have to reset to the bottom of Denadora Mountain. Because the RNG right now is literally perfect for the boss. And the boss that's coming up, Masamune, is arguably the hardest boss fight in the entire run. It's super sensitive to just minimal error, and if you just do a tiny mistake, the script is completely off and you are gonna die. So not making mistakes is important in this part more than in other parts. Like, this is not a part you can just improvise, this is a part that has to go flawless. And the kind of bad thing is, like, you saw there was a save point there, which is way closer to the boss fight, but we cannot use that. There's no good backup load that we can take from that position. So we have to do the safety save at the bottom of Denadora Mountain. Gonna use the speed tab and the power tab. Oh nice, dang it. Whatever. There we go, we got the Masamune. But the little kids here, the Masa twins, want to test us before we are allowed to grab the Masamune. And upcoming we have the boss fight that killed the most runs in the tournament we had. Like, I'm not kidding, this boss fight is stupidly hard. And you have to be on point. Especially Masa twins is really hard because you have two very precise fire inputs from Luca that I have to do like basically perfect. Let's see. Okay, that was good. Again, this is all completely scripted out. I can tell you like literally every damage number. And if I do a single mistake here, I have to reset. Okay, yeah, that was perfect. And if I mess this up, since I have to reload back to the start of Denadora Mountain, I lose like at least 5 minutes. So this is kind of stressful, but Masa Twins is the harder part. Masamune is way more lenient, so I should be fine here. There is, in theory, something that's called Troll Masa, which can happen with the Berserk strats I'm using. And it's completely random and I have no control over it, and it could just randomly the script not work. But that has a very low chance. It happened to me in the last marathon run I did, so I'm really gonna hope it's not gonna happen this time. So yeah, every attack that I do here, every attack with Robo and Luca, is completely timed and all based on Chrono's Berserk attacks. So I have to be really careful here not to do a mistake. Okay, this is... I don't like this. Wow, okay, cool. I had to jinx it. I just had to. So I actually got Troll Master there, which means the boss fight just decided to say nope. And yeah, that's just literally nothing I can do about that. Basically what happened there is Masamune attacked too early. Earlier than it is supposed to, just because of a really rare RNG pattern. And it just said, alright, yeah, you are gonna lose 5 minutes for no reason. So I have to literally reset to the start of Denador Mountain. I'm sorry, I don't know why this game hates me, but it unfortunately does. So in case you like Denador Mountain, it's a pretty cool area, but glad we get to see it twice. I guess that's kind of the downside of having like completely scripted fights. So like you are so relying on RNG, basically all the crits you have laid out for your script. If for some reason the RNG doesn't work, you are just screwed. Alright. So, less RNG, guys. That was nothing that comes twice. Again, the odds for Troll Master are really low. So getting like 2 Troll Masters in a row is nothing that ever happened to me. Wait, did I use the power tab and the speed tab? I'm not sure if I used the power tab or the... Oh man. Did I use the power tab and the speed tab? I mean, I guess we're gonna see here? Just a second. I hope I didn't forget it this time. I tend to forget stuff like that when I have to do stuff multiple times. Alright, this is looking good. Yeah, okay, yeah, I did use it, okay. We're good. Yeah, okay, we're fine. Alright. So, Acid Twin's going well. Nice. Actually starting to get nervous now about Masamune. Again, bless RNG for me not getting screwed over twice. What's up, Skies? Alright. This is fine. So again, the fight is completely scripted out. I always enter my fires and my rocket punches while Chrono has his berserk attacks. A lot of crits too. And optimally, this is smooth sailing from here. Alright, this is looking better. Wait, 1 second. Need to. Okay. Okay. Just have to check the script really quick. Just to make sure everything's running smoothly, you know? No, yeah, this is how the fight is supposed to look. Last time, Masamune attacked before I was able to get the fire off. But this is how the script is supposed to look. And that's it, that's Masamune. Hardest boss fight in the run. Woo! First try, yeah, basically. So now that we've proven ourselves worthy by defeating the Master Twins, we get to grab the Masamune. However, there's a catch to it. Masamune is unfortunately destroyed. Split into 2 parts. So we... The spirit of the Masamune, the Master Twins, tell us that we need to fix them. So now we got the blade, now we just need to get the handle. And then somehow fix the Masamune, this magic sword that can defeat Magus. Which is, after all, the purpose of this category, defeating Magus, so fixing that Masamune would be kind of good. We're coming up on shop menuing, my least favorite part of RPG speedrunning. But this is where we unequip our other characters and sell a bunch of stuff, buy a bunch of stuff. That's pretty good. So yeah, we have Chrono and Luca unequipped now, and Robo. So all of them have super high magic defense, and I think it's like 80% magic resistance against water, shadow, and lightning, not against fire. And we have like a huge buff in magic attack. So right now, everything that is related to that, we're just absolutely OP. Against physical damage, we suck, but for that we have RNG manip. That was a new, by the way. There are 4 instances where we can find a new in this run. That was number 1, and we got a new. Every time you see a new in a run, you have to call it out, because news are our friends. So, we got a new, so that's good. Run is already valid. And there's Frog, we found him. He's kind of sad, because he doesn't live up to the promise he gave, and he has the other half of the Masamune. And now we have both halves of the Masamune, and we can just, we should go and fix it now. And we already know who can fix it, a guy named Melchior. So we go to Melchior next. Also, fun fact, these 2 frogs there at the bottom, they don't actually start fights, so you can just run through them. And if you press A while you are inside them, they do this kind of praise the sun move. So if you go for swag, always run through the frogs and press A. And then they'll praise the sun. But yeah, now Chrono is no longer on Berserker after the last menu. Gonna set him to Slash on this runaway. Oh wait, he's already on Slash, never mind. And then we go to Melchior. This is one of the more, I don't know, after Masamune you have a little bit of downtime, just some slight menuing, a few cutscenes. And once we're way back in the past in 65 million BC, it's going to pick up again a little bit. Gonna do another fade out here. Oh. There we go. Because we really don't want to talk to Melchior. Talking to Melchior is terribly slow. And basically what Melchior just told us is that we cannot fix the Masamune unless we have something called a Dreamstone. And the only way we can get this stone is in the past in 65 million BC. So we're going there now, gonna get our stone, and then go back to Melchior to fix the Masamune. And then once we have the Masamune fixed, we can just go to Magus and whoop his ass. But 65 million BC is kind of fun. Some cool fights. This is actually the only instance of RNG where the RNG seed we're going to get in this fight is determined by when we close text boxes. So you might have noticed that I closed the text boxes there in a kind of specific timing. The Master Sword. So yeah, these Reptiles are kind of annoying. Thankfully, they're pretty big pushovers. Especially with our magic boost. Like, since we have this giant boost in magic attack, even though we are so underleveled, we still deal tons of damage. Oh no. Luca is dead. That's unfortunate. Oh well. Doesn't matter. We don't need Luca. It's kind of unfortunate because we're off RNG now. But, it's not terrible because in terms of like... RNG it doesn't matter. In terms of XP, it doesn't matter, I mean. Because, wait, I need to get up a metronome really quick. Because the XP, we don't need Luca for a lot more. And it doesn't matter if she doesn't have these few extra XP. Okay. So same thing as before, just swapping out Marl, not for any fights, just for the sole purpose of shortening a cutscene. Because Marl tends to talk a lot during cutscenes. And we got a party coming up, and Marl at party's a little bit too hard, so not gonna have her in there. Just swapping her out for Robo, just for the party. So yeah, Robo is just kind of depressed, frustrated, tries to dance a little bit. We'll just have to wait that out, talk to Ayla, and then talk about the Dreamstone, and she just gives it to us. But only if we beat her in a soup-eating contest, which is totally not a censored mistranslation. This is totally not rice wine or sake or something like that. This is definitely soup. So this is another instance of the game where you just get to mash your A button. If you like mashing A buttons, this game is for you. We don't really need to mash a lot here. It's really easy to win this mini-game. But might as well mash while you're at it. So now, after we have kind of a hangover from all the soup yesterday, we wake up and there's a little bit of a problem because the gate key is gone, and the gate key is the only way we can travel through time. So right now we're kind of stuck in the middle of 65 million BC. So yeah, let's talk to Ada and find out where our gate key is. And Ayla is gonna just bring us to the Reptile Cave. And the nice thing about new characters when they join the party is they are completely OP, because they are way higher level than we are. And we can use that, because we're gonna give Ayla a nice Berserker later on. Got another fade out here to skip a cutscene with Kino. Nobody wants to talk to Kino. Kino is a bad character. And I'm gonna do my save and reload here because I am off RNG. So for these long reloads, where I have to wait a long time to get onto the right RNG seed, I have a metronome. And then I just have something like, my notes say something like metronome 15 for a backup. Then I just wait 15 ticks and am on the right RNG. Again, the windows for these reloads in most cases are pretty wide. Like, they kind of vary. Like, for some you only have like 0.1 second, for others you have like 1.5 seconds, so it kind of varies, but it's not too bad, the safety reloads. Yeah, this is Reptile Cave, we're not going to do a lot of fighting in here. And this is a nice thing about the RNG manip. Just based on damage numbers you can tell if you're on the right RNG or not. Like right now I'm supposed to get hit for 34, and I get hit by 34, so I know I'm on the right RNG. This one has a pretty tight lightning input, but I should be able to get this. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, Ayla is currently the only one that actually deals physical damage, like a lot. Ayla's pretty strong, and we didn't even give Berserker to Ayla yet. We're gonna do that in just a bit here. And then Ayla is just completely busted. Like, Ayla crits with physical attack right now are just super strong. By far the best chance we have to deal physical damage. From this encounter we're just gonna run away. Then we have a little bit of quick menuing. Gonna give Chrono the Magic Scarf, Berserker to Ayla, and we're also gonna unequip Ayla's vest. And we're actually not doing that because we want her to have the magic defense. Magic defense is completely not super useful for her. We just, in this case, we don't do unequip to give her stats. We unequip her because we want her ruby vest for another character. So, kinda stealing her stuff for another character right now. But that's fine, because Ayla is our friend. Ayla doesn't mind if we steal stuff from her. And this is Nispel. Nispel is by far the easiest boss in this game. There is a script for Nispel just to do him optimally, but you can do this fight so easily off script. It's like, this is the easiest boss in the entire game. Like, dying to Nispel is close to impossible, honestly. But yeah, just look at, really the interesting part here is the Ayla damage output. The amount of crits and the damage she deals is pretty sick. Again, same general strat as for everything with Berserk, just do your tech inputs during animations. just to always enter the text on the first frame, and that way ATB will always be on the same spot, and RNG will always be the same. Just really basic tech, but important. And one more slash, and that's Nismo. And we are getting really close to the end of the run. At least in terms of like story progression. So we get our gate key back, can go back forward in time, use our Dreamstone to reforge the Masamune, then we can give the Masamune to Frog, and then Frog is gonna kick some ass. The reason why we moved diagonally out of that door is because it skips the text. It might look a little bit slow, but it's faster. As with many things in this game, it looks kind of like stuff looks slow, but it's actually faster. And we get a second Berserker, and that Berserker is absolutely OP. This Berserker is gonna give us a lot of fun. But we'll get to that later. But keep that Berserker in mind, because there's gonna be one specific boss fight where this Berserker is just kinda broken in a lot of ways. So yeah, going back to Melchior. Gonna do another fade out into the basement. This fade out is actually a little bit more important. Because not only does it skip text, but by swapping the party the way we did it, it actually shortens the cutscene here quite a little bit. The way this works is that, well, you're reforging the Masamune now, and the way it works right now, since we only have 4 active characters, you have to have either Luca or Robo in your party. So when we activated this cutscene, we had Robo and Luca in our party, Robo being on slot 2 being prioritized, so right now Robo is supposed to help reforging the Masamune, which makes a huge part of the cutscene. And by swapping out Robo out of the party, and putting Marl back in, the game is kind of confused. Like, you can see it's so confused that it even puts Robo back into the party, even though we never swapped that. And it skips just a bunch of the cutscene, which is convenient. And now the Masamune is alright again, and we can go see our friend the Frog. We got 2 more chances of seeing Anu in the Cursed Woods, so let's hope for the best. Also, we got our last bird skip. So far we're 3 for 3. Let's see if we can get number 4. And we got it. Nice. It's just, I mean, obviously it saves time because you skip the extra fight, but it's just so much more important because you stay on RNG. Just any extra encounter will just make the RNG get off script, and that's just time loss. So yeah, praise the sun. So far only 1 new, but that's still, it's not terrible. There are a lot of runs where you just get not a single new, that's always sad. And this is just really just text mashing. We got 2 very long cutscenes coming up, explaining the background story and the motivation of Frog. This is just really not an interesting part, it's just like text mashing, because there's nothing like a toggle button or like an auto text cancel. So it's just like, even though it's a cutscene, you don't really have any downtime, like you cannot just grab a drink, which is unfortunate. Funny enough, we are coming up on the boss fight, and during that boss fight you can actually grab a drink. Which is kind of ridiculous thinking about it, that there are cutscenes where you cannot just like take a break, but during an actual boss fight you can just like walk away from your screen for a bit and you'll be fine. But I'll get more into that later. And now we're having our first Frog reference here. How they obtained the hero medal. There it is. I never understood who that girl is supposed to be. And here comes the interesting part. Glenn's and Cyrus's confrontation with Magus. Basically the origin of this entire Frog-Magus revenge plot. Cyrus and Glenn being overpowered, Cyrus being killed, Glenn not being able to escape, or not wanting to escape rather, being too worried about Cyrus, and then being turned into a frog. And there you go, Cyrus being kinda burned to dust. Insert Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good meme here. Yeah, sad story. This game is pretty dark. So yeah, Frog is gonna help us. Party completed, and now we're on our way to Magus Castle, which is pretty hype. But before we actually get to Magus Castle, we have to watch another cutscene. Which is a cool cutscene, not gonna lie, but it's another long cutscene. It even made the robot sleep. So, after we just got the story of like how the entire conflict with Magus went, now we get a little bit more of a backstory of Glenn and how his relationship to Cyrus developed over his young years. Also, best line in the game coming up. You're a marshmallow, Glenn. Cyrus joining the army. Cyrus convincing Glenn to join the elite troops as well, because Glenn is a better sword fighter than Cyrus. And now we get to see the final confrontation one more time. Seeing Glenn being actually transformed into a frog. Just laying there, utterly destroyed. And that hero medal just, as if it was destiny, swimming over to Glenn. Best cutscene? Yeah, this is a pretty good one. Frog having this cool light beam thing, and then Frog just literally cutting a mountain in half. This is pretty sick. The music is pretty good too. I love how Robo is shaking. Alright. Pretty good stuff, I'd say. So we want to get hit for 19 here, which we do. So we are on RNG right now. Here we are, Magus Castle. Just a small safety save. Shaking in fear. Dang. This is actually, I really like this cutscene, the way Magus Castle shows. I think they made a pretty good job. I think it's pretty epic. Just the only thing that kind of bugs me is that on top of Magus Castle there's a dragon, and in this game there are no dragons. So either Magus just invented the concept of dragons with his castle, or there are dragons but they don't show us any in the game, which would be even more upsetting. So now in Magus Castle everything is like spooky and scary and stuff. So we just have to run to the two ends of the corridors and then get back to the center, and then we're gonna get progression. I really like how they have literally no sound in this part. Just makes it really, it really adds to the atmosphere. Well, yeah, they aren't real in IRL, but you know, that's not the point. So yeah, we see Ozzy, one of the funkiest characters in the game. We're gonna get hit for 45 or 46 with a acid rain now, and then we're gonna one-shot all of these enemies with a rocket roll. There we go. Alright, I hope you guys remember that Berserker we picked up earlier, because that one's going to be important now. Also, the Ruby Vest that we stole from Aina. So we're going to get Power Scarf. Frog's going to get the Berserker and the Ruby Vest, and we're going to de-equip his helmet. So he gets the Ruby Vest and the Berserker. And yeah, that Berserker, my friends, you are in for a treat. Has to be like one of the most OP Berserkers in any speedrun. So, unfortunately, all the MP from Frog are stolen, but we don't need MP with Berserker, right? So we come up on the Flea Fight, and Flea Fight is a pretty hard boss. Flea Fight is ridiculous, like, yeah, I'm not even kidding. Flea Fight casually is pretty hard. If there was no Berserker strat, this fight would be ridiculously stupid. But we have this thing called Frog Berserk, and, yeah. Basically what's gonna happen, the way this fight works, is that if you have two attacks starting at the same time, Berserk takes priority. And, well, Flea and Frog have the same speed right now. So what's gonna happen is, Frog and Flea have their turn ready at the same time, and Frog takes priority, and then Flea's attack gets deleted. So the way this fight works is that we would just wait out for 16 continuous Frog Berserk attacks. And all that Flea does is exactly nothing. And that's the boss fight. That's what I mean when you say you can literally just walk away for a minute and nothing will happen because the fight just goes on. But Flea is having a ton of fun, so that's cool. I'm glad Flea is enjoying this. She's just laughing. Alright, now we actually have to do something. Just finishing off the fight. And that's it, that's Flea. Really, really hard boss fight. Like, I'm not kidding, I had to really focus on this to make it work. Yeah, this is what I mean when I say Berserk is OP in this game. It's ridiculous. Like it's already OP in stats, but this this strat is just like, yo, what's up, Adrana? Yeah, sure, dude. So, unlike the Flea fight, the Slash fight is actually pretty hard. Not hard, but like, it's definitely more difficult. The script is the... Oh, there we go. Yeah. The Slash fight is the most, has the most complex script in this run. Again, the Berserk strats are really good. The idea of this fight is basically that we want to have all crits on Frog. So we just let Frog do the majority of the work, and every once in a while we're going to enter attack with Chrono or Robo, just to shift the crit table onto Frog. But yeah, it's still pretty straightforward. By the way, Adrana, guess what? I got Troll Massa again. I'm really good at getting Troll Massa lately. And this time you didn't even jinx me. Alright, that was the first phase. That one's easier. Second phase is kinda, a lot of things I can mess up here, but I should be fine. This is the last scary part, really, for me. This is what I meant. We got our crit table fixed, and then we just enter a few attacks that are non-crits with the other characters. Just so that Frog gets all the crits with his Berserk. And then you're just gonna see Frog critting like crazy. Alright, thanks Adrana, I appreciate it. So we're gonna get another free frog crits right here. That's number 2. Thankfully, slash counts as magic attack, so due to unequip, we take almost no damage from it. And we're almost at the end of the fight. And that's it. That's the slash fight. So we got the 2 bosses here done. Ozzy is on his own. Only thing in our way to kick some ass. Wait, what a magic scarf. And Frog gets the hero medal. Don't need... These save points are so annoying. Like, you think you're on them, and sometimes you aren't. But yeah, we're basically almost done here. Yeah, we don't need the... We're done with the Berserk strats. What did I just do there? Whatever. There are some pretty funny hallways here. This is the hallway of completely skippable encounters. Later on, there's the hallway of partially skippable encounters. And then later on, there is another hallway of completely skippable encounters. This hallway of completely skippable encounters we have to run away from, though. The second hallway of completely skippable encounters, we can just avoid the encounters altogether. This is more of a movement-heavy section, really, the upper part of Magus Castle. So there's Ozzy, Ozzy calling, Flea and Slash, but Slash and Flea are dead. Well, not dead, but they're defeated. So, Ozzy just running away. Ah. This guillotine room is pretty annoying. Optimally, you don't want to take any damage here, but I messed up. But that's okay. That's really not the end of the world in terms of time loss. Just have to do one extra item for the last menu. This is probably one of the hardest movement rooms. Oh my god. Dang. Wait, I don't think I can... Oh yeah. What do I do here? How do I do this? Wait, no, right. I forgot how this fight works. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Oh, this is actually... Oh boy. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Okay. Ah, this is fine. This is completely fine. Yeah, how do we do this? Yeah, the thing, fire is kind of bad right now. Oh, boy. Okay, because fire is the one magic attack that we don't have any defense against. It's disgusting. Wait, I basically, I have to revive Chrono here. So this is the part where improvising gets kind of scary, because you really don't want to improvise. Alright, that's better. So we push this enemy kind of out of bounds, just so that we don't have to fight him. And these rollies you can just get through by... well, basically just by not moving while they roll through you. Oh no, I'm on lightning, am I? Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, might not even be terrible. I will see about that. Thanks, Yoshi. Gonna swap in Mao just for one fight, Luca here for just one fight. This is the hallway of partially skippable encounters. Thankfully, the one encounter that we can run away from, the second one, is the most annoying one, so I'm just gonna skip this one. And for the third fight, we want to have Marl. Sorry, Luca, why do I keep messing up the names? Alright, that was a good fight. And yeah, we're basically almost done here. We got the last encounter. Now we got Ozzy coming up as a boss fight, which is more of a cutscene than a boss fight, really. And then we get to the guy, Magus, who is the final objective of this category. Yeah, this is the hallway of completely skippable encounters, number 2. Just don't run through the intersections of these statues and you're fine. Wait, how do I do this? You're not allowed to face forward going into that transition, otherwise you're going to trigger an encounter. So yeah, for those of you who haven't seen the Aussie fight yet and who still want to play the game, you might want to look away because this is one of these like puzzle fights that you have to figure out. And I saw a few casual playthroughs that have a hard time figuring this out, but you just basically have to attack the chains and not Aussie. If you attack Aussie, you're gonna get destroyed by counter attacks. Because I'm off RNG, I have to do another reload. And this one is actually a kind of precise one. I only have like a 0.25 second window, which is still a lot, but oh, with metronomes, it's kind of eh. Alright. So, gonna get ready for our final party. Chrono, Frog, and Robo. Gonna save, reset. Alright, this is an 11 count. Alright, that should work. Again, just timing the reload to get a specific RNG seed. Because we really need to be on RNG for this fight. As I already mentioned, we have magic defense against 3 of the 4 magic types. And right now we can only deal 2 of the 4 magic types of damage. And in theory in this fight you need defense against all 4 magic types, and you need to be able to deal all 4 magic types of damage. But effectively we can only deal with shadow and lightning barriers that he can throw at us. So with the RNG manip we are guaranteed to get only shadow and lightning barriers. If we get any other barriers, we're kind of screwed. Water is not bad, like we don't take any water damage, but we cannot deal any water damage. And fire is bad because we cannot deal fire damage, and fire kind of bodies us because we don't have any magic defense against fire and we are underleveled. Also, this is by far the best music in the entire run, by his opinion. Black Wind starts to howl. So yeah, this is good. We got the shadow barrier. Should be alright on RNG. Yeah, we're good. This is exactly the pattern we want. Again, if you just look at the damage numbers, the amount of damage we take here is ridiculous considering we're not wearing armor. Yeah, the Goal game has fantastic music, I agree. It's a really, really good game in terms of music. Alright, and now the Dark Matter phase starts. This is the more or less safe phase of the run. Now we just basically want to spam attacks and slashes. And if you ever remember your casual playthrough of this Dark Matter deals a ton of damage, but because we have unequip, it's pretty laughable. And the run is about to end, actually. Because as soon as this fight is done, we are done with the run. Alright, and that's it. We even got the Dark Matter skip. And as soon as Magus crouches, we're done. And time. Alright, that's it. That's Chrono Trigger Defeat Magus %. Pretty fun category, pretty cool game. I like it a lot. It's really contrary to like your average JRPG. It's a lot more movement heavy. There's almost no RNG to it. A lot of fun. Do recommend. Community is pretty cool. So if you want to get into this game, I do recommend it. So yeah, I guess thanks a lot for having me on this marathon. Glad that you were having me. Apparently I'm supposed to do some okay, I can do some shoutouts. So yeah, shoutouts to the Chrono Trigger speedrunning community. A lot of fun. Thanks, big shoutouts to Waldo here for putting me into this marathon. Kind of like last minute. Got some guy did some heavy scheduling rework for me, so that's pretty cool of him. And yeah, so yeah, I'll give it back to Waldo. Thanks for watching, and thanks